Sometimes you got to say no to everyone else to say yes to yourself. And the real abundance and the real giving and the real time you can be present with the people that you love is when you give from your overflow. And that's what I had to learn, because I was spreading myself so thin. I was just so burnt out. I couldn't even have time to record. I used to record all the time. But because I've been saying yes to everyone and taking on so much, even if it's not physically, then mentally I'm taking on so much, it just left me depleted. All you got to do is focus. Where focus goes, energy flows. This is why it's so important to focus on your goals and invest time into the things that really matter to you. Invest time into your passions. Be a good steward of the gifts that you've been given. Oh, is it gonna focus on me? Hi guys, my name's Karis, aka Kaz. If you don't know me, I'm CEO and founder of Cakes by Kaz. It is an online bakery that I started when I was 15 years old, and now I'm beginning to branch into other things like digital products, social media marketing, loads of other things. The more I win, the more I can help others to win too. So everything that I've learned in the way on my entrepreneurial journey, I can now share with people. It's a chance to build community, and it's a chance to touch people's lives and change people's lives in many ways. I've left my job. I have spent countless hours and time pouring into this business. I know a universal law is what you put in, you will get out. So that's why I know now, even though it's been 5+ years down the line, I know that I'm going to start seeing the fruits of my labor very soon, and stuff is already happening, and I think it's great. When I saw the biggest change in my life, it wasn't when I started going to the gym regularly. It wasn't when I started posting on social media regularly. It wasn't anything to do with me changing anything outside of myself. It's when I started to look within for the power that I needed. And if I just elaborate on that, that means that I changed my mindset. I changed the way I thought. I changed the way I reacted to things. I changed the way I let people control my emotions, and I let circumstances and everything around me, outside of me, control me. And I started to do some inner work, and it really changed me. It changed me to get me to where I am now. And the only way I started to achieve stuff in my outer world is when I started to clean up my inner world. So this meant that when something bad would happen, and especially in business, or when something would go terribly wrong, I would always just react so crazily and just crash and burn. And I would just go through this endless cycle of stuff would be going good, then it will go bad, then it will go good, then it will go bad. And I was ruining myself every single time, because every time something would go bad, I would react to it. Then I started to reframe my mind to, when something goes bad, I need to see what I can learn from this, and I need to see what I can take away from this. And I can't see every negative as a crash and burn opportunity. I need to see a negative as a growth opportunity and take something positive from it. And the more I started to lean into that, and the more I started to go through stuff and come out and take from it and apply it, and go through stuff and take from it and apply it, I started to realize that my pain was shaping me, and the pain that I was going through and the hardships that I was going through were making me stronger. And I also used to react in ways where I would go and I would try and escape my problems, and I would go out and I'll be drinking and partying, and I would be going out, and I was distracting myself from the real issue, and I wasn't learning the lesson that I was put through these hardships to learn, right? And I would pray every day. I'll be honest with you, I was still escaping, but I would still be praying for deliverance and praying for an answer and praying to be taken out of the situations that I was in and the circumstances that we're in. And I realized that I was living the answered prayer. You don't pray for strength and not go to war. You don't pray for financial stability and not go through financial instability. You don't pray for a successful business and not have a failing business, because you can't get what you're praying for unless you go through the reverse. And when I understood that, I realized that what I was praying for, I was living through. And all I had to do was apply myself and have faith in God and continue to go through whatever I needed to go through in order to shape me. And once I realized that and I changed my frame of mind to that, it's like a switch went off. And I'm not going to say that after that everything was perfect, because it wasn't. But what I will say is that I continued, and no matter how much spiritual warfare or physical warfare I was going through with family, with friends, with my business, with everything around me, I still continued. And I've got to a point where now I'm like, oh, I can use my voice now. I've been through it, and I can now share my experience, and I can share my testimony and use it to help people. And I am not gonna lie to you, I do feel like everyone judges a book by its cover, and everyone might see me posting funny stuff or posting just normal girly stuff, but I'm happy to say that I'm a very intelligent woman, and people tend to take your kindness for weakness. They might just see a pretty face and think that's all you have. But one thing about me, I'm very observant. And I might not talk a lot, but when I'm in certain spaces, I would just observe, and I'll sit and I'll analyze how people treat me, not knowing that I'm smart. I'm not gonna lie to you, I'd be playing dumb all the damn time. I'd be playing dumb, and I'll rather see how people act when they think that I'm just a little ditzy little blonde, and I love it. But I feel like now I'm getting older, it's time to actually show up as the person that I want to be, show up as the girl I imagine every single day, and I need to start leaning into that identity. So there's no point in playing dumb anymore. I'm sure you guys know that I'm not have a complete low IQ. I'm sure you guys know that I'm smart, but I feel like I haven't been sharing my knowledge, and I haven't been sharing the lessons that I learned along the way. And I really want to start doing that now, especially on this platform that I have, or that I'm starting to grow, and showing up as the new me in this new season, because I never used to always be like this. And I'm still changing. I wouldn't say I'm in my final form, but I feel like the people that I watch a lot of, Bob Proctor, these are a lot of things that I'm ingesting on a day-to-day, information that I'm taking in on a day-to-day. And I feel like no one would know that I be listening to this stuff, and I'd be analyzing and breaking down what these people are saying, and really understanding it, and really studying what they're saying, and these philosophers and these people and what they're saying. Myron Golden, really be influencing my thoughts on a day-to-day in a good way. And if we take the word influencer, I feel like in this day and age, influencer is kind of just thrown around very lightly, very easily. But what are you actually influencing people to do? And I had to even ask myself that with my platforms that I've been using for so long, what am I really influencing people to do? So I had to sit down with myself and really think about how I want to show up on these platforms, and how I want people to learn from the content, and what I want people to receive from the content that I'm putting out. And I do want to also break down and share a lot of the lessons and a lot of the things that I take from these people that I watch on a day-to-day, and have it come from somebody that looks like me. Because I'm not gonna lie to you, a lot of these people are like old white men or old black men, or there is some women that I listen to, but the main kind of words that I take from people that look like Alex Hormozy, or like Bob Proctor is like an 83-year-old white man. I want to be able to break down what they're saying, and I want it to come from me, because sometimes it's hard to relate to stuff, or it's hard to learn from people that don't know where you come from, or it's hard to learn from people that you just can't relate to. I can break it down to you in a way that you guys can understand. So the main points that I've taken from them, I'm not going to keep this rambling on, it's just an introduction, but the main thing that I'm going to touch on is how I had a paradigm shift. If you don't know what a paradigm is, it's basically a series of beliefs. And I started to learn about paradigm shifting and how important your thoughts are quite a while ago. And I think I've started to, I wouldn't say master, but I've really started to understand the importance of it. And truly, the main thesis is that you want to take your current beliefs and you want to shift them to the beliefs of your new identity and whoever you want to become. And once you start doing that and you master, it's easier said than done, honestly, because you find yourself having to pull back automatic responses to, as I said, situations that you're in. You might go through something and you're quick to think, okay, I'm just going to give up. But when you have that paradigm shift and you repeatedly listen to these motivational speakers and these people that are speaking life into you, it doesn't even have to be a motivational speaker. It could be a pastor, it could be scripture, that you're continually reprogramming your brain to have this shift in ideologies and this shift in thinking, then you will start to see a change. As I said, from when you start on the inside, you'll start to see the change on the outside. And I think it's great because it's so simple. And when someone is just there to hold you accountable and just say, look, the way you think controls your reality, your emotions control your thoughts. And once you stay on that positive frequency or a frequency of abundance, you're going to start seeing it manifest into reality. When it came to my goals before, I used to be so lackluster. I used to be like, oh, well, that's so out of reach. I'm not going to get this car that I want. I'm not going to be able to uphold getting my nails done all the time, getting my lashes done all the time, or I'm never going to be able to scale my business. I used to say stuff like that so just willy-nilly, not even thinking about what that's actually doing to my subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind believes everything that you feed it. If you say to yourself every day that you're ugly, or let's say in the past you've grown up and you've been bullied before and people used to call you ugly, then your subconscious mind will believe that is true. But what you need to do, reprogram your mind into something that speaks life into yourself, something that's so positive, something, and that's not even just being positive all the time. It's not realistic to be positive all the time, but it's the way you frame your thoughts. Sometimes you can just be an observer of your thoughts, and not every thought you have to internalize. So for example, if you've woken up and you're like, oh my gosh, yesterday was such a bad day, don't think, oh, yesterday was such a bad day, I'm just gonna sit in bed all day because I deserve it. No, you don't deserve it, because there's stuff that you need to do. You gotta provide for your future family. You gotta provide for your current family. Some people are doing that already. So you really gotta think about, how do I reframe it? I had a bad day yesterday, but that means today I'm gonna go even harder. Do you know what I mean? It's simple things like that. Or if you get a ticket, you'd be like, okay, I got a ticket. That's annoying, but what can I learn from this? Maybe next time I need to leave a bit earlier because I was rushing and I didn't have time to find proper parking. Do you know what I mean? Reframe every situation. Start focusing on gratitude. What are the things that you have right now, right in front of you? You're complaining about all the stuff that you don't have. That means you're thinking in lack. You got to think of abundance. And the way you do that is to sit in gratitude. What are the things that you do have? There's people out there that have so much. They don't have half of what you have, and they're doing more. So you got to really think internally. It's so important to work on yourself internally, and God has made us in his image, which means that we have everything within us that we need. One thing I'm so grateful for is the gifts that I've been given. And the reason why I work so hard on my business is because I have to be a good servant of my gifts. It's a privilege that I've been given these talents. And there's some people out there that have been given talents and they're not utilizing them. You're not walking in gratitude. You think it's okay to just continue to say, I want to start that brand, or I want to start that business, or I want to put my talents out there, or I want to start posting content. And you think you're not doing any harm by not acting on it or just pushing it to the next day. Really, you're not being grateful, and you're not being a good steward of your gift that you're given. Okay? It will get given to someone else. You will lose it. You need to walk in gratitude. Energy is a currency. Energy is life. Emotions are energy in motion. So the more you move, the more you use motion, the more you act, is you using your life to your full ability, using your energy, okay? And this also means you have to say no to certain things. Because when you say no to certain things, you're saying yes to other things. And if I be saying yes to everyone, I'm giving my energy to everyone, and I have nothing to give to myself. And you get to a point where you're like, oh my goodness, I am just so burnt out, because you've given your energy everywhere and now you're in debt. You have no energy left. So sometimes you got to say no to say yes to yourself. Sometimes you got to say no to everyone else to say yes to yourself. And the real abundance and the real giving and the real time you can be present with the people that you love is when you give from your overflow. And that's what I had to learn, because I was spreading myself so thin. I was just so burnt out. I couldn't even have time to record. I used to record all the time. I used to make videos all the time and really lean into my creativity. But because I've been saying yes to everyone and taking on so much, even if it's not physically, then mentally I'm taking on so much, it just left me depleted. And all you got to do is focus. Where focus goes, energy flows. And this is why it's so important to focus on your goals and focus and invest time into the things that really matter to you, and invest time into your passions and your gifts that you've been given. Be a good steward of the gifts that you've been given. Another thing I just want to touch on is, this is not me coming from a place of a higher pedestal. I really just want to build a community of like-minded individuals, especially what I want to do with Girl Boss Academy. I want to go into workshops and I want to go into networking events and really build a community of like-minded individuals that just want to better their lives and just want to really create the reality that they see and that they know they can fulfill. And if you're feeling like you deserve so much more from life, and you feel like you're doing so much to get there, but you haven't quite got there, this is the space that you need to be in. To hold yourself accountable, to find a community that you can also share your experience with and the lessons that you've learned. This is where I want you all to, this is for the girl bosses. Obviously, there's so many more videos that I want to touch on. There's so much more I want to talk about. So make sure you leave in the comments what you want to see from me and what content you feel like will be the most beneficial to yourselves, business owners, brand owners, even girls in 9 to 5. I have loads of connections with wonderful women that work in finance, that have their own business, that are building something, and I would love to just make our whole community here. So thank you for watching. If you got this far, then I love you guys. Make sure you like, comment and subscribe. And that's me. Let me do a quick thumbnail. How to level up. Peace. Getting to a point where I've reached my bottleneck. If you don't know what a bottleneck is, it's basically like a cap in everything that you can do. I'm the sole employer, social media manager, I am the baker, I am the logistics manager, I am HR, I am everything in my business. So I've reached my cap and I'm ready to scale. And next few ebooks that I'm gonna write are literally gonna be aimed at scaling your business, registering your business, doing all the legal side of things. I'm now getting virtual assistants, integrating AI into my business. I'm integrating automation and systems into my business. And if you don't have systems in your business, then you will never grow. You can't be doing everything yourself.